The story begins as the Abyss threatens to destroy Noel's hometown.
は魔界、ボイドとつながり、その深度が深いほど、より強大。
The Abyss is a force that forms when too much mana fills the air, and it links the human world with the demon realm called the Void. When the Abyss deepens, more powerful creatures emerge. And tonight the Abyss has reached a depth of 12 enough to summon a deadly creature known as the Lord. Noel's grandfather, Brandon, once the strongest seeker and known as the legendary Overdeath, prepares for battle. As the threat looms, he grips his weapon and mutters to himself how he never thought he'd wield it again. Brandon orders Noel to stay in the shelter, claiming that help will arrive soon. However, Noel knows his grandfather too well. Help isn't coming. Brandon is preparing to fight the Lord alone, and Noel realizes that his grandfather plans to defeat it himself. With legendary confidence, Brandon reminds Noel not to doubt him, asking if he's forgotten who he is over death, a name feared by all. He promises to protect Noel with his life, and Noel calls out to him as he leaves. As Brandon prepares for the fight, he thinks about telling Noel that men can't let anyone look down on them, no matter when or what they face. Noel hides in the shelter, terrified, as his mind races with thoughts of his grandfather. He stays hidden. Feeling dread creep over him as the moments stretch on. Eventually, Noel steps out of the shelter and finds Brandon gravely wounded. Brandon reflects on his fate, acknowledging that even death has his limits. He tells Noel that this is the path of seekers. Choosing a life of combat means living with death always nearby. Despite his condition, Brandon has Noel if he still wants to be a seeker, even knowing the dangers that come with it. Noel, holding back his emotions, responds with determination. He tells his grandfather that he will follow the same path and become a seeker. Brandon, though proud, tells Noel that being a seeker is not enough. He must become the strongest, and he has Noel promise that he will surpass even him. Noel then swears that he will become the strongest seeker. Brandon chuckles with pride and tells Noel that he loves him. In that moment, Brandon passes away, and Noel screams in agony. It's been 2 years since then, and we see that Noel has kept his promise to become a seeker. His team is confronted by monsters, so Noel expertly gives them orders on the best way to win the fight. Noel belongs to the weakest support class called Talkers, but he's proud of it being his job. After defeating the monsters, Noel's team starts cutting them apart. Noel explains that lesser vampires can't use magic, but their queen can reproduce rapidly, creating endless spawns, each strong enough to tear apart an ox. As they strategize, a vampire attacks Noel, but Tanya saves them just in time. The team considers targeting the queen directly to stop the spawns, but Noel advises against it. He explains that their C-ranked team should focus on the spawns first for a higher chance of success. The team knows how critical Noel is to their success, acknowledging that is the buffer of the party. He has the authority to give them orders despite their rank. They can take on this B-rank mission because of Noel's direction and skills. Noel then reflects silently on his role. Being a talker means he specializes in support, using his buff words to increase the team's combat abilities. However, his own fighting strength is weak, and he has to rely entirely on his comrades in battle. This is why talker walkers are often ridiculed as the weakest class. Suddenly, the queen comes out of nowhere, releasing a poisonous gas. The gas spreads quickly, causing chaos. Lloyd and Walter immediately recognize that they must save Noel first because they know that they are powerless without his buffs. Tanya follows as they rush to rescue him. However, in the midst of confusion, Tanya is struck by the monster without Noel's buffs. Lloyd and Walter struggle to fight back, and they know that they can't win without him. The team begs for Noel to give them orders, and they remind him that he's supposed to be the talker. Anger rises within Noel as he tells everyone not to look down on him. He pulls out his weapon and he prepares to show his team how a talker fights. Noel uses his talker skill called Tactician. By giving orders to the party, it'll increase the abilities of the members by 25%. Noel tells his brain-dead team to avoid an attack, and he uses his battle voice, which increases the recovery speed of his team's stamina and mana. Noel has Tanya cast a barrier on the two warriors, and he has them destroy the beast. However, things get worse as they notice more monsters nearby. Tanya begins to panic, So Noel uses his peer support skill to stabilize her frantic mental state. Noel sets a timer for 74 seconds, and he declares that he will take care of the small fry so the others can focus on the main body. He continues to instruct the others on every single move they make, and he tells them to prepare the most powerful attack. Noel stuns all the small fry and prepares his magic gun, the only anti-beast weapon that a talker like him can rely on. Noel fires a nice bullet to freeze the demons, but one escapes. Noel only has one bullet left, and 43 seconds remain on his timer. Noel determines that the beast will reach him in 23 seconds, so according to his calculations, he has just enough time to tell the guys to attack the main body. He gets the message out just before the beast attacks him, and is his brain dead. Teammates unleashed their attack. Tiffany's amazed that they were able to win, but she is horrified to find that Noel was struck. This is not the case, however, as Noah's timing was perfect. He dodged just enough to evade the attack, but also factored into his calculations that the spawns would lose their ability to move after the queen was defeated. The battle ends exactly as Noel predicted, with the mission completed in 74 seconds. His teammates, impressed but joking, tease him for being too calm and confident with his risky timing. Noel's thoughts then shift to a memory of his grandfather. As a child, he was upset about being a talker, and he wished to be a warrior like his grandfather. His grandfather reassured him, promising that his talent would shine and that he would help Noel become the strongest seeker. Back to the present, Noel silently reaffirms his goal to surpass his grandfather, even as a talker, the role most people consider the weakest. Noel then explains how Edir, the capital of the Velnet Empire, thrives on magic and technology derived from research on the beasts. The city depends on seekers to protect it from the abyss, and they are admired as heroes. Later, while the team enjoys a meal, Noel reflects on how, at 15 years old, he began searching for companions in Atray, knowing that as a talker, he couldn't fight alone. Walter, part of their $5,000 reward, talks about their progress, while Tanya and Lloyd discuss aiming higher. Noel, however, quietly thinks that they could benefit from having a scout, but for now, he focuses on getting experience with his current team. The conversation changes when Walter asks Noel if he's upset about the reward. Walter is drunk, so he teases Noel for caring too much about money, saying a seeker should be big-hearted. Walter's words about money trigger a memory for Noel, reminding him of something his grandfather had once told him. His grandfather explained that seekers must prioritize money to buy the best equipment and supplies for survival. Being labeled as greedy or evil is a mark of success, not shame. His grandfather, known as Overdeath, taught Noel never to let others look down on him, regardless of their opinions. Returning to the present, Noel insists he is in upset, but Walter continues to criticize him. This escalates into a back-and-forth exchange, with Noel mocking Walter's reliance on age for authority. Ability is all that matters for a seeker, so Noel mocks Walter, refusing his age to force others to agree with him. The furious Walter accuses Noel of staying safe in battle while others take the risk. Walter reminds him that he puts his own life at risk to tank for the others, but Noel continues to taunt him. Their argument intensifies as Walter says that he will end Noel's life, and Noel accepts his challenge. Lloyd steps in to break it up, and he reminds them that they are all friends. He suggests that they split their reward and call it a night, successfully calming the tension between them. After completing the mission, the team is left with only $2,500 each. After paying the clan, Tanya is disappointed with the payout, feeling that it was too small for the effort involved. Lloyd explains that while the mission was tough, missions like these are rare, and they'll make more money when they take on another job. However, Noel points out that unlike official clans, they don't receive missions directly from the country, which limits their opportunities and earnings. He mentions how rare missions like these are, as for independent seekers like them, and how much more difficult it is without being part of a clan. Lloyd updates the group on their total savings, which amounts to just over $100,000. Without hesitation, Noel proposes using that money to establish their own clan. Lloyd warns Noel that starting a clan requires paying the country $200,000, far more than they currently have. Noel responds confidently, stating that he's willing to cover the remaining $80,000 from his own savings. His determination is clear. He believes that establishing the clan will allow them to break free from doing second-hand jobs and truly grow. Despite Lloyd's warnings about the high cost of renting a base of operations in the capital, Noel remains undeterred, explaining that he already has a lead on a cheap place. Lloyd expresses doubts about their ability to manage a clan, pointing out that there's still a young, inexperienced C-rank team. He feels that they aren't ready for such a responsibility. Noel challenges this thinking, asking Lloyd when exactly they will be ready. He argues that if they don't take action now, they'll remain stuck as C-rank seekers forever. He insists that experience will come from running a clan, not from waiting until they feel ready. Lloyd continues to express concern, stating that without the country's trust, they won't receive the high-paying jobs they need to succeed. Noel counters this by explaining that their youth, attractiveness, and strength are assets the country values. The government wants more seekers, and a successful seeker is often seen as both an idol and a hero. He believes that their look and skills will help them succeed, and he even brings up how signing contracts with companies could bring them sponsorships and additional income. Walter is still shocked by the conversation and can't believe that being good-looking could help them get better treatment from the country. But Noel remains confident. He even tells Walter that despite his flaws, he too has the kind of looks that could benefit the clan's image. Walter, who was initially skeptical, is eventually swayed by Noel's argument. Tired of doing second-hand jobs, he agrees with the idea of forming a clan, adding that status, payment, and money are all appealing. He even makes a crude joke about using his newfound status to attract women, which causes Tanya to scold him. With Walter on board, Noel turns to Lloyd, asking for his opinion as the leader. Noel's determination shocks everyone when he reveals that if they don't agree to form a clan, he's prepared to quit the party and take his share of their savings. He reminds them that he has a dream to become the greatest seeker, surpassing even his grandfather to let legendary over death. Lloyd is taken aback by Noah's conviction, but he understands that this is something Noah isn't willing to compromise on. After thinking it over, Lloyd agrees. His reason is that they would have to make this decision sooner or later. Tanya's still in disbelief about Lloyd's choice, but he reassures her that this was always the path they were headed towards. Lloyd recommends that they continue discussing the details later. After resting and recovering from the long day and all the alcohol, the group agrees to reconvene in 2 days to finalize their plans. As everyone leaves, Tanya stops Noel, but she just ends up saying goodbye. The next day, Walter frantically tells Noel that Lloyd and Tanya have betrayed them, leaving them shaken and uncertain about what to do next. According to the note, Lloyd spent all his money into some meme coins and fell deep into debt. In order to pay it off, he used all the party's money, so he and Tanya left before anyone could find out. Noel laughs like a lunatic, so Walter reminds him that they were just betrayed. Noel doesn't really care because he's enjoying the fact that the mighty Lloyd has fallen. He looks like a complete fool, so Noel tells Walter to laugh with him. Walter explains that he got the lead on a good job, so he wanted to the party before anyone beat them to it. However, when he went to tell Lloyd, he found that his place was emptied out, and he found the letter. The owner of them told him that Lloyd left the night before, so Noel determines that they must have managed to just slip out of the city before the gates were closed. Walter found the note sooner than Lloyd was planning, so that buys Noel time to find them. He determines that the traders are likely on foot because renting a horse would leave a paper trail, so they should be able to catch up to them. Walter is really eager to go, so he rushed Noel. He wants to punch Lloyd right in his dumb-looking face because that's all that will quell his anger. Noel mocks him for thinking that everything will be okay after he punches Lloyd, but Noel explains that there's no coming back from this kind of betrayal. Noel declares that it's not a matter of catching them and talking it out. In the worst-case scenario, Noel is ready to fight them to the death. Walter is shocked, but Noel just wants him to make sure that he can defeat Lloyd in the fight. Walter is sure that he can with Noel's support, but he is startled when he realizes that he will have to fight Tanya as well. Noel explains that Lloyd must have figured that they wouldn't come after them because they wouldn't be able to get their money back anyway. Walter wonders if this means that they will just have to give up, but Noel says that it's quite the opposite. Noel has a motto, and that is to repay friend and foe alike 1,000 times over. Noel has Walter gear up, and Walter wonders why they have come to the Orc Club. Noel doesn't answer, and instead tells Walter that he's a complete idiot, but he's also an excellent warrior. His point is that they both have their areas of expertise, so Walter needs to leave the thinking to him. Inside, Walter is shocked when Noel announces to everyone that his party has been betrayed. He declares that he wants the traitors to be found and captured, so he puts up a reward of $20,000. Walter wonders why Noel had to tell everyone, So Noel explains that it's all part of his plan. Wenger Group is willing to accept the offer, and Noel assures them that he will pay up if they are successful. Noel gives them the details, and the furry and his party rush off to find the traitors. The club clears out as everyone rushes to do the job, and Noel begins to wonder if he was wrong about something. Just and a guy asked to speak with Noel, and Noel determined that his plan worked. It turns out that this guy saw Lloyd and Tanya when he was on his way back from work. Walter demands to know where they are, but the bum refuses to talk without some money first. Noel only offers to give him half of the reward because the guy clearly is incapable of taking out the traitors on his own. The guy tries to negotiate for more money, but Noel doesn't budge at all and even threatens to just walk away. Noel has analyzed this guy already, and he can tell that he's in no position to turn down cash. The guy tells them where the traitors are headed, so Noel instructs Walter to wait at the gate. With the guy in his party, Noel has other business to take care of first, but he doesn't tell Walter what it is. A while later, Noel is ready to go, and Walter wonders if Noel can really defeat Lloyd and Tanya. Without hesitation, Noel says he can, and he doesn't plan on showing any mercy either. This even means ending their lives. Surprisingly, Noel explains that he thinks of everything, and he even had a contingency plan in case he was ever betrayed by an ally. Walter was shocked to realize that this means Noel never trusted them, even though they were close friends. Noel explains that trusting someone doesn't mean having blind faith in them, and being critical of who you trust is the basics of building any party. Walter is ready to go, but Noel can tell that he's too soft. Walter isn't as he is making it seem, and Noel predicts that what is about to happen will be very painful for him. Elsewhere, we see the traitors. Lloyd assures Tanya that Noel won't come after them because he knows that there's no way to get the money back. They are, of course, shocked, however, when Noel appears behind them. The others come out of hiding, and Noel uses his talking power to stop the traitors from moving. Noel declares that attack is called the stun howl, and Lloyd was being too careless. Walter angrily demands for answers, but Noel calms him down and calmly asks his own questions. This leads him to his own conclusions, and Lloyd is shocked when Noel determines that his investment story was a lie. In reality, Lloyd has been gambling. He lost big and fell into debt with some sketchy people. Lloyd begins to apologize as the truth is finally out. But Walter loses his mind, and he reminds Lloyd that they risked their lives countless times for that money. The gambling addict bites back and points out that none of them have any idea how hard it is to be the leader. They all push the burden of leadership onto him, but they also want all the privileges when it suits them. Lloyd continues defending himself, but Noel shuts his face up. He points out that Lloyd was the one that wanted to be the leader in the first place, so he can't complain about how hard it is. Noel makes him pay for his mistakes, and Lloyd begs him to stop. Everyone is horrified as Noel just continues beating him down, and he declares that Lloyd can apologize after he has taken another 1,000 kicks. Tanya begs him to stop, but she is horrified when Noel wonders if she wants to be kicked instead. Noel doesn't discriminate against women, and he won't hold back when he punishes her either. Noel doesn't want to hear any of her excuses, so he just uses his talking ability to get her to confess about gambling with Lloyd. She admits to dipping into the party's funds as well, but she blames everything on Lloyd. She is a serious gambling addict as well, so she says that they could have won it big if Lloyd just let her gamble more. Noel's talker skill called confess forces a person to tell the truth, and Tanya is furious when he releases her mind. She points out that it's illegal to use mind control skills for personal gain, and Noel could go to jail for it. Noel agrees that this is normally the case, but Lloyd and Tanya are criminals who embezzled party funds. Imperial law allows the use of mind control skills if it's to make criminals admit to their crimes. Noel is absolutely terrifying, and he tells Tanya that they will be the only ones going to jail. Embezzlement is punishable by 10 years of hard labor, so Noel congratulates them on throwing their lives away. The guy from earlier is ready to get paid, but he gets antsy when Noel tells him to wait. Noel throws him to the ground as he refuses to allow filth to touch him, and he tells the loser to sit and wait. The guy doesn't take the insults lightly, so Noel just silences him with a punch to the chest. A look back shows that old grandpa taught Noel to punch people right in their hearts in order to temporarily paralyze them. This attack allows even weak people to put on the strongest of fighters. Unlike other classes, talkers have no way to buff themselves, So Grandpa taught Noel this move so that he can defend himself. Gesta and the person Noel has been waiting for finally arrive, and everyone is shocked to see that it's the slave trader named Finocchio. The biggest mafia group in the capital is the Luciano family, and Pinocchio is the boss of one of their subsidiaries. This guy is cheery, but he can also be horrifyingly cruel. He is the very definition of a two-faced. Because of this, the people call him the Mad Clown. Walter realizes that this meeting is the business Noel was taking care of. Before leaving, Noel knew that Tanya and Lloyd wouldn't have a single penny left of their party's funds, so he made do with Finocchio to recoup the lost money. That is when Noel decided that he would sell Lloyd and Tanya as slaves. Tanya refuses to agree to this, so Noel offers to hand them over to the military police instead. Noel is really evil, as he gives some statistics. The survival rate for prisoners sent to work in the mines for 10 years is only a meager 2%. Noel suggests that they just agree to be slaves, because at least they might be able to luck out with a kind master. Finocchio does his appraisal, but he only offers to pay $60,000 for the pair. Finocchio explains that he usually pays more, but there's something happening at the capital. A certain church is about to issue an ordinance that will force the rich to have to cut back on luxuries. Spending too much on slaves would get the church's attention, but Noel is disappointed to see that even the mafia can't defy the church. Finocchio is glad when Noel agrees to sell the traders, but he is horrified when Noel says that he will only sell them for $110,000. Finocchio complains, so Noel instantly raises the price to $120,000. More complaining only gets a raise to $150,000, and Finocchio's true colors begin to show. His voice deepens and he threatens to slice Noel open so he can feed his innards to the pigs. Noel is a genius though, and says that if Finocchio pays $150,000 for them, he will tell everyone that Finocchio actually bought them for $300,000. Lying about the sale price like this will increase their value, and Finocchio will be able to sell them for a huge profit. Lloyd and Tanya are young and beautiful, so Noel assured that the rich will be willing to pay at least $900,000 for them. Finocchio only needs to pay Noel $150,000, and Finocchio will be able to keep the rest. Finocchio warns that they will both be in danger if this little scheme is found out, but Noel points out that Finocchio deals in risky business for a living. Finocchio always knew that Noel was a smart guy, but he had no idea that he was this crazy. He asked Noel to join his family, and even offered to give him a leadership role. Noel rejects the offer, but Finocchio does agree to pay him $150,000 for the traders. Finocchio doesn't want word of this getting out, so he makes a terrifying threat to the poor guy. Finocchio makes the upfront payment to Noel, but Tanya begs for mercy. She reminds Noel that they are friends, but he just calls her a traitor and says goodbye. Tanya turns to Walter for help next, and she reminds him that he's supposed to be in love with her. Tanya loses her mind, and she insults Walter for being a coward as she is taken away with that business. Over with, Noel pays the poor guy his $10,000. The guy tries to insult Noel for being such a jerk, but Noel tells him to do a better job of keeping his emotions in check. The guy just calls Noel the devil, but this doesn't bother Noel. Instead, he plans to use that notoriety to forge himself into the strongest in the world. Later, Joel arrives at the gate to say goodbye to Walter. They had a talk earlier because Walter was thinking about quitting as a seeker. Noel assured Walter that while he is the dumbest person he has ever met, he is also a great warrior. He's the best, he knows, so he wanted the two of them to build their party from the ground up. Noel needed him, but Walter ultimately decided to quit being a seeker altogether. Noel leaves Walter with a passing gift, and Walter can't figure out if Noel has a heart or not. He wonders if Noel knew that he was actually the one time he loved, but he knows that Noel isn't in search of love. Noel only cares about strength and strength alone. Walter thinks about how happy their party used to be, and he dramatically says goodbye to the best party member he has ever known. Afterward, where is Noel thinking about how he has to start from square one now? He spots some snakeskin nearby, and his composure changes again. He says that snakes shed their old skins in order to grow new and stronger scales. Noel will have to do the same. So starting today, the Blue Beyond party will be born anew. I appreciate you viewing my anime recap, Unruly Family. Please let me know what you think about this anime recap by liking, sharing, and commenting, and please subscribe to the channel to help us reach 5,000 subscribers.
Take you impossible. Take you.